Great.
Yep,
Go
sounds
for it.
good. Hey, thank you, Tommy. Hey, and thank you everyone for taking time out of your day on Friday to join. Pleasure to see a lot of familiar faces. Very excited to interact with those we haven't had the opportunity to in the past. Before I hand it over to Aaron, VJ, and the Superbity team, I just want to share some insight that I gained. We were all at the big AI summit this week in New York City, and I've been talking about this stuff out there recently on LinkedIn and other forums. But I was kind of blown away to learn that over 80% of global organizations today are making gigantic investments in AI, right? No surprise, 7, 8 figures plus. But what kind of surprised me is that more than half of those organizations have no idea the actual impact of the things they're trying to pilot is going to make on their organization, nor how the heck to get that from pilot to production. Over 90% of AI pilots don't make it to production. And the even more insane fact related to this is over half of those organizations are going to double their budget related to this next year. So if you think about it, they're literally throwing mud at a wall, hoping it's going to stick, and the next year just going to throw more mud. So the difference here today is framing up superbity. Think of AI agents as this beautiful, red, delicious, ripe apple. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. In a quick amount of time when you take a bite, you're going to get that satisfaction, you're going to get your ROI quickly. So without further ado, here's superbity.
Wow. Round of applause. Thank you, Chris. And great to meet you all. Thank you again for the time. My name's Aaron Mangani. I am the Chief Growth Officer here at Superbity. We're based out of DC. And I'll share just a couple of slides, keep it short and simple. I'll pass it over to Vijay Navaluri, who is one of the co-founders and Chief Revenue Officer, who will do a couple of the sweet demos. And then looking forward, if there's questions or anything we can take after, it'll be great. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Vijay, am I good? Can you guys see the screen?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Perfect. So again, thank you all, right? What we're doing today is something called AI agents, and I'll talk about the AI agent technology at a high level. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it. It's the most popular trending term, right now in the AI space. A lot of big companies are getting into it. We've been doing this since 2018, and when AI became popularized end of 2020, 2021. We immediately knew that agentic AI agents is the future, right? And everything will be based around this to build the autonomous enterprise. So a little bit of high level, we are a platform to build AI agents completely no code. But that being said, we have a catalog of 50 plus pre-built, pre-trained agents that are deployed today to 50 plus global Fortune 500 customers, doing a number of tasks, and I'll share that shortly. So I just want to jump in a little bit about Superbity, just so you guys can see this is not something in the future. This is not a startup technology. This is real. It's happening today. We're operating in about 8 different countries, working cross vertical, you name it, Department of Defense, government, healthcare systems, healthcare insurance, IT, retail, manufacturing. A number of our customers are using multiple agents today, driving immediate value. We are, partner focused. So we do have good relationships with Accenture and IBM that, have seen this technology, love it, and take it to a lot of their customers. Everything you'll see today, I think this is the most important point, is federal grade, enterprise grade security. These things can be deployed, right? They're HIPAA compliant, SOC 2, Type 2 compliant, FedRAMP compliant. And that's really where a lot of pilots, if they do kick off, they get paused, they get stopped. There's questions around security, but we're happy to say that, we're meeting all of those stringent kind of standards, right? We are based out of Washington, D.C., but big presence everywhere in the U.S. and then also globally. So looking forward to understanding more from, if anyone wants to reach out and talk after. This slide just talks about what Chris mentioned. A lot of enterprises are putting big budgets towards AI technologies, but a lot aren't really sure what that looks like. What is the AI solution even doing? 2, what is it doing with my data? And what we've seen is that AI agents is the fastest segment in AI today, right? Today, there's already about $4 billion planned to utilize AI agents. And in the next, 5 to 10 years, it's gonna be over $100 million. So and maybe more, right? So very massive market. And we're glad to say that we're kind of leading this way in the AI agent space right now. So just quick 30,000 foot view. What is an AI agent? What is it doing? It's doing three things. The first thing, it's capturing and understanding all of the structured and unstructured data from any source. So you name text, video, audio, biometric data, wherever this information is coming from, the AI agent has hands. It has the ability to ingest and understand this information. Number two, I think, is the most critical part of all this. The agent is actually understanding the data in the context of what the organization is doing today, right? It's knowing how an organization operates, what the goal of the task of what needs to get done, and it's using the data that it ingests to process that, right? It's essentially an AI worker. As all workers need hands, right? So there's an ability for the AI agent to work within any application. You see, top four big names here. But the AI agent, we have a framework that goes through APIs, UIs, you name it. It can work with homegrown applications, enterprise grade applications, any level of application there. We do this, again, with a lot of government agencies, including Department of Defense and state of West Virginia. And we're really pleased to say that, the AI agents are driving immediate value on that side. Again, I'll share this presentation with everyone after, so everyone can see this. But just to keep with time, I'll continue on here. When we're talking about agents understanding data, right? What is that looking like, right? It's any type of data coming in, PDFs, Excels, invoices. These are all text-based, but also ability to work with images and video data and biometric data. We have a couple of agents deployed today that are utilizing, one of our technology partners, biometric face recognition, biometric data, and triggering workflows when that comes in. So I would say, today the interest level in AI and AI agents is 9 out of 10. The technology is 9 out of 10. What are enterprises going to get started with? From the first agent or second agent, it's going to be, a little bit lower scale, maybe around 3 out of 10, leveraging all the unstructured data around text. So that's where we see 75% plus of our agents utilizing it. But again, right, it's capturing, it's understanding all this information, and that's really what an AI agent is built to do. Now, not just understanding the data, but what an AI agent is doing is taking action on it, right? It's great that it understands it, but the goal is for it to do something with it, right? And that's where we have, 50 plus pre-built agents already doing work. And when I say pre-built, it means it's pre-trained, pre-modeled. It doesn't need to train on any client data. I think that's an extremely critical factor. No one wants their client, their own data to be used as a training mechanism. And we realize that, right? So that's where we have built our models around our agents to already understand use cases in healthcare and finance and banking, insurance, you name it. And we're deployed today there. You'll see a very good look of this when VJ shares a demo. There's a couple of demos we want to share. And you have three examples here, right? Invoice reconciliation, that's one agent that a number of enterprises have been reaching out for. You might be paying today, but are you paying correctly, right? Now you have an AI agent that can ingest all the invoices and supporting documents, contracts, purchase orders, timesheets, SLAs, and it can actually map and it can say, hey, this invoice is correct. We've matched 4 documents to it, and we know that all of the information matches up to the invoices. Or it'll say, hey, no, you know what, the percentage is different on the invoice. This needs to get flagged. Have a human, look at this and figure out what needs to be done.
And I'm going to stop there real quick. There's a couple of CEOs of ERP consulting companies.
Okay.
Talk a minute real quick about how this works. The agents works with existing, ERP companies.
No, absolutely. So an agent, again, has the ability to work with any ERP system, right? SAP, we have a number of different ERP systems that we're working with today. So an agent can actually ingest data from an ERP system, take an action, push data in. VJ, if you want to talk, couple minutes about that. I know that's your wheelhouse exactly, so go for it.
Absolutely. So Tommy, if you look at the enterprise, it's all about ERPs and CRMs and other enterprise applications. If it's a vertical specific banking, core banking systems, and so on. So when you deploy AI agents, one of the major criteria, generative AI, like tools like ChatGPT, they just talk, but they can't actually work on these enterprise applications. So how do you make it? This is exactly what AI agents would do and what our platform would do. So we have pre-built connectors to ERPs, CRM. So and actually anybody would can create their own custom application connector to the AI agent and make ChatGPT kind of tools with a complete private data setup to make them work on these enterprise applications, right? So that actually is so powerful that you can take data, ingest data, process it, analytics, workflows, all of that are possible on top of the ERP systems.
I would imagine you probably already have a bunch of them for SAP, right?
Absolutely. Most of the customers that we do in the manufacturing and oil and gas and majority of the non-banking and non-customers are SAP.
Can they be used for other ERP? I know they can be used with ERP. Well, my question is, are they kind of already pre-done for, like, Acumatica is one of the ones that one of the CEOs of the consulting companies here is here. What do you have some of them already?
Yeah, Tommy, I just dropped in the chat. Supervity's agents can literally interact with any organizational application, ERP, CRM, homegrown, open source, even green screen. They have the ability to connect through APIs. If an API doesn't exist, the actual agent can create an API. They can work with file systems like JSONs, flat file uploads, and so forth. And the differentiation from this platform versus some of the others we've looked at in the past, they actually can even go into the UI, much like an RPA or a bot solution.
Cool. Yeah, I know. Armando, as I'm seeing this, man, I see just a lot of
Thanks for the call out. I don't mind it, but it's great. Obviously Acumatica has the open API, so I think the connection there is understood. One of the things that we normally are shy away from is really when it comes to support. So one question that I would have is, how does the API, how do you guys ensure that as Acumatica gets upgraded and releases come out that we can test the environment prior to the upgrades? And then what type of support would you guys have either to us as the reseller that's then supporting the clients or directly? And then I'd be interested to know some use cases. So, but yeah, this is something that we are seeing, some of our clients ask for more. There is some embedded functionality within Acumatica already, but there's obviously a lot more to be done and a lot of processes that are still manual. So
I am gonna interject real quick before we go on. I should have said this before. Guys, ask questions if you want to ask questions. Like, this is gonna be interactive. This is all friends. There's not anybody on this phone that I don't think I know. Might be a few, but my point is, ask questions, because we are going to do a second one of these for each one of these. So after the end of this, you can tell me, you email me, hey, I want to see more of ABC, right? And then I am going to have another group that's a smaller group just with that vendor where we can go in and dive into, more and more detail. So if you've got a question, feel free to, this is interactive.
Quick question with a comment. In the customers that you're working with that have SAP, can you comment on what level of the product of SAP's mess they have, and how are they even aware, let alone reference, any of SAP's Gen AI claims? And there are many of them, which I've spent a lot of time listening to and working with them. But the transition for an SAP customer to be able to take advantage of that is enormous. And how are you seeing that? I think this AI agent concept is a way to attract large, big enterprise manufacturing, supply chain driven companies away from SAP.
Yeah. So, Paul, very interesting topic that you brought up, right? SAP customers have vested for years, or a decade. Installations are there, and they're so complex, they're so customized, and customers are scared about even just forget about anything else, transformation, even upgrade. So what they are now scared is investing more into that SAP and getting more logged into it. So what they want is a way out when they are actually transforming. Do they have a solution which actually can sit on top of it, deal with SAP's complexity, but also give them a flexibility to do enterprise level transformation using AI across other systems as well. So we do a lot of customers getting into SAP. I mean, 50 to 70% of our customers are SAP customers, to be honest. And all of them have varied level of customization and complexity. When we put AI agents on top of SAP, as Chris was talking about, if they don't have an API and they don't want to write an API because it's a lot of time it's complex and expensive, our AI agents can log into SAP and doing the work. And whenever there's an API available, we are just plugging into it, right? So in fact, we are telling customers that don't customize further, don't customize your SAP HANA, don't just do the same mistake again when you're really moving from your SAP ECC workloads to SAP HANA workloads, and have your customization done through AI agents because they are easy to maintain and manage for you, whereas your application
Yeah,
is doing the core workflow, right?
and
So this is the kind of stuff.
my former, until recently, employer, HP, is a fantastic example of that.
Yeah.
What SAP is saying is, yeah, don't customize, move it to the HANA cloud. And they're saying, well, they'll ask Deloitte, well, how much will that cost me? And how long will it take? And it'll take 10 budget cycles to cover that. And they're saying, oh, and we have AI on top of that. So all you need is us. And it's like using a sunken aircraft carrier as an anchor to hold your boat. Um, it's a huge gap in the marketplace, but not very visible to those locked in SAP customers.
Absolutely. And that's how we approach. We want to keep it modular. We want to keep it open so the AI agents can work with other systems and they can have complete access of the agents. We'll talk. I mean, when you
Yeah.
see the demo, you'll really appreciate it. I just want to
Oh,
go back
okay,
to.
then I'll ask a question you can answer in the demo, which is, how is the agent helping reach the user base in these SAP customers with the context that makes it accessible to them to see the value, as opposed to trying to just deal with those SAP APIs, which you have to be on drugs to get any value from. It's so complex and low level in the weeds. The end users that depend on it have no clue about that complexity. They just do what the robot tells, the RPA form tells them to do. And it's been that way for 20 years.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think when you see the demo, you would have few of the questions answered, but how agentic is different from robotic in nature inherently, and then how, I mean, we are not perfect, but we are doing a lot of innovation here. You would
Yeah,
really love it
but
what we are looking at if you're
bringing
thinking
the
in the right direction.
context into the experience, I think, is the key. And
All right.
I'll be looking for that.
I'm gonna facilitate right now. All right, let's move on. I got a couple people with hands. Rom, I heard what you said. I saw what you said on the deal. Yes,
Perfect.
SAP does recommend that. We'll talk about that in yours though.
Let,
Unless you
let,
got another specific question.
so maybe let me just quickly, I've been flashing this on, right? These are just few examples of the agents, right, ready deployed today. But you're talking about horizontal agents that work across any organization, right? Finance agents that are doing order to cash, procure to pay, all the different use cases there. In healthcare, there's a number of expert agents ready to go. Retail and manufacturing. We have, I would like to share that, post call so everyone can see, what are different companies using today, what's the interest level, and I'll do that. But the one thing you guys should take away is that these agents are here, they're pre-built, ready to go, and then when customers are using us, they're saying, hey, wait a minute, this is amazing. How do we get more custom built agents, and how long does it take to create that and deploy it? What VJ will show in the demo is it takes us not months, not even weeks, sometimes within a single day when we get a use case, we're able to create the agent and deploy it out, right? So I'll keep moving on here. I do want to leave off again.
I do want to jump in. One thing I will say this as you move on. I think we should get in the demo though, because we're gonna run out of time.
Sure. Okay.
The one thing I'll say about that is real quick. The reason I like the reason and had you lead off, by the way, is I really like the fact that they have a lot of our it's done for different roles, different industries, right? So you're not starting from scratch. Like, like what, think about it. One of the things I want to do, and we may do, depending on investment, is build a catalog of these things out, right? For our customers in oil and gas, or our customers in healthcare, or our customers in, right? And there's already a lot of them built in. So you're not, the good news about this is you're not starting from scratch. So so go ahead and finish off, but I would say within the next 2 minutes, let's jump into the demo.
Oh, not even way ahead. This is the last slide. This is ready to go. Their enterprise is great. I touched on it, and maybe VJ, if you want to take over and jump into the demo, I'll stop sharing my screen here.
Sure, buddy. Ram, you have some question that you want to take it first before we go into demo?
Sure. Hey guys, this is a great tool, seems like, but I've been through this drill of RPA moving into intelligent automation to hyper automation. Technically we've done these and are doing it. Companies have already invested massively into this hyper automation hype. My first question is, why should one more buy? Because every RPA agent is now becoming an intelligent agent in what they're calling as an agentic AI. Any vendor you take, they're calling it. How will you, by the way, Vijay, I think you and I connected on LinkedIn too. Just saying, you still have to have the rules for invoices. You cannot let a human be taken out of it. You still need cognizance. I get it. But through intelligent automation, RPA is linear, but when you put intelligence, you can get the context. Why should investment, which is not easy to take away?
No, absolutely. So I think we should talk fundamentals a little bit before we go into demo. I mean, thanks for asking, Ram. So this is very fundamental, right? What companies are really going through. If you look at from 2015, 2016, or 2017, when automation became a new thing, right? When people wanted to automate on top of ERPs. ERP itself introduced as an automation, right? And people went through 15 years of transformation calling ERP, saying it's an automation. But then on top of came RPA kind of tools, robotic automation tools, which just are nothing but UI automation, right? So where you don't have an API and you want to really put a band-aid, and people thought that's transformation. And a lot of people who really bought into that hype said this is actually automation, this is going to change the world. Then intelligent automation is nothing but adding one more tool called OCR to it, right? And where you're saying, I'm able to do intelligent automation. I'm not just doing UA automation, but I'm also looking at documents and invoices and extracting and doing. But actually, thanks to Gen AI and NLP and many other tools, though we are not there from reasoning point of view, in terms of like a human reasoning, there's so much intelligence, really contextual intelligence that now software is able to understand, right? So agentic is all about having more context than every time you're coding every possible scenario in the world and thinking through it and working on it, right? Whether it's on a happy path or whether it's an exception path. That's where automation never scale. And that's why companies are tired of putting more and more bots and they're retiring them, saying that, hey, we cannot code for everything, every possible damn scenario in the world. We need something to be contextual and they should be able to figure out and do stuff. If I just tell this is what my logic is, I think that's where the next level is right now. When you look at the demo, you look at it. But just want to give a business angle to it as well, right? I just gave a techie angle to it, but business angle to it. So we have a Fortune 500 customer who have done significant automation in their invoice processing in the traditional intelligent automation world, where invoices are coming in, they are extracting the invoices, some human check, and then the processing. The robots are entering the data, doing two-way match, three-way match, and entering the data and all that. Now, they're feeling comfortable, but they still have the almost same size of people working on this problem. And still struggling. And then the problem was, it's just not about doing right. They solved the problem of doing right? Manual work being done by bots, no manual entry errors, but they're doing right. But the question that the CFO and the business team has is, are we paying right? Are we really paying right? I'm spending billions of dollars in my spend, and am I paying right? What does it mean? Every line item has to be manually audited. The contract, the rate cards, the SLAs, the quality of the product that's been delivered. And manually, nobody can do it. So they're just ignoring few of that, and then they'll do some random audit after the fact that they pay. to really see, okay, we're doing fine. But they really want to make sure every line is being paid right. So there, you want to have a AI agents coming in who can understand these unstructured data, the contract, the SLAs, the rate card, all of them contextually. I can't write coding for every vendor, what kind of contract I have, what kind of this, and then for this vendor do this. That's not possible manually or the techie. That's exactly where the intelligent automation experts don't get it, that agentic is a force multiplier. It's just not rule-driven coding that you can do for automate the rules, of every situation scenario that a human can understand. Agentic is contextual in nature. And right now we are actually auditing every line item. We process million invoices per quarter. Every line item is audited by AI as a maker. And when AI says something, it is valid for so and so reason, invalid for so and so reason, they have exceptions which will go to humans and checkers. And this is where, I mean, you can't really put people to this problem. AI agents are force multipliers, right? These are the kind of scenarios that we are talking about. Same in the claims processing, same in many other scenarios, which
VJ,
we
I think
see this stuff is
VJ,
going.
VJ, for sake of time, I know just because we're a little bit over, can we jump into the demo and then maybe show a little bit about
Absolutely.
take more questions?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more time, but we're down probably to 15 minutes.
Perfect. So I just want to quickly start with a simple, I know I'm just cutting out demos into simple stuff. So I want to start with a very simple one, right? This is for a sales guy who would like to automate some simple HubSpot stuff on, hey, I want whenever new contacts or deals created, I want to just get it out into Excel and do some stuff, right? So this is how agentic will go, where you just, in our tool, you can use our AI coach, say, whenever a new deal is created, just get HubSpot, get the deals and dump in Excel and do some analysis about it. This is a very simple task, and the AI will plan what tasks are involved in this. It will generate the workflow for you. So for ChatGPT generates only the content for you, but here this actually can generate workflows for you. And it's just not any workflow, it's actually a functional workflow. It knows which API to call, what to do. So you don't have to really code any of that stuff, because Gen AI can understand the coding aspect of it behind and generate 90 to 99% of the workflow for you. And then all you need to do is a little bit more sub-prompting into it, right? Like prompt engineering into it. So this is a very simple start. I want to just show how the experience of AI agents get created in SuperVT. You can choose any step, and it actually breaks it down into smaller steps and creates a workflow for you. And then you can do sub-prompting, right? You can go to a particular task and you can say, hey, you can explain in plain natural language what exactly you want to do in a particular step. For example, in Excel, what exactly you want to do, you just write in simple English. So you're not talking about parameters, you're not talking about logic, variables and
VJ,
mapping, data transformation and all that.
can I make one quick point? I think it's very important to make. What you're looking at right now, again, is very good intro to the platform. This is what we kind of, describe as more of an individual, team-based agent. A lot of the agents that we also will show, in the next 10 minutes is also based off of their enterprise grade, right? So either it's an unattended agent with a human in the loop ability to do something at scale, like handle 1 million documents, quarter and right. So just want to make that quick distinction here.
So this is how the simple stuff is. You can create agents like this in this experience, and then you can run these agents. I'll go a little faster just for the interest of time. So once you have it, you trigger some action in the native application. This is CRM here. Tomorrow this can be an ERP system. It can be a ITSM system, any of the systems, right? AI can connect to those applications and then does its job, and you can actually completely audit it, every step of it, what it is doing, what data is coming, what data is going. So AI agents, whatever they're doing, everything is auditable in our platform. And then once you have it, it will create the file exactly like it's getting all the deals and creating an Excel and doing exactly what the prompt has said, right? So you're actually prompt engineering actions like Aaron was talking about. Can AI agents just not do talking, but also can they act on applications and on the data, right? This is just a starting example. I want to show you something very powerful. If you look at most of the companies, how they do process data, right? So this is actually for a customer of ours where we are processing complex unstructured data documents, where there's a lot of logic involved in processing these unstructured sub invoice and invoice documents, which are have to be understood like a human has to understand what exactly the content of the document. And there is a lot of logic in terms of how you want to process each of this information and apply various conditions and business validations, and then perform certain data transformation activities and eventually enter this data into a system, right? So this is pretty normally complex. People write Python code, complex project, and do a lot of testing, and finally eventually give it to an IT project, and then gets delivered. But here, just to show you how this is done in an agentic platform like ours, this is, let's say, an incoming document. You have to understand these tables, the data inside these tables, and then you have to compare that with another master data in an Excel data, and then you have to compare the incoming data with this Excel data, then form an analysis and reconciliation kind of analysis, and finally create a report out of it. In that workflow, you just have to, again, in the same way you can explain it, and at each step level, we actually just have to write sub prompts, right? You have a master prompt, which gives you entire template of the workflow step by step. But each sub prompt, you just have to go and write, okay, extra data from so and so file in simple natural language, English, and then explain, out of that file, I'm just interested about these 5-6 fields. Again, you just write task description, how you want to write in natural English, and you are telling AI agent what exactly you need to do, you want it to do, like you would tell it to a human, right? And then you go and open Excel, write, do this is an Excel. This is again a task prompt, simple English, not even, any construct. You don't have to learn anything. You just write simple English, each of them, and then extract these different 2 tables in the document, understand those tables and do some transpose out of it, compare this with an Excel sheet's data, right? And then do this logic on that Excel sheet data in the comparison point of view. Everything that you're doing here is in writing simple business logic. The AI agent has the context of the data from step 1, what it is doing. It also understanding what you mean to say in each of the steps, and able to just understand the business logic. And once it is done, you can have as many steps you can have, write as much logic you want to write in simple English, or you can upload a business process document, right? You're not coding anything. You're not writing hardwiring rules like in robotic automation scenarios in the S12 world. And finally, you're saying, once after the analysis is done, create a report and send it to me as an email out. And again, it's just a step. You're not even writing an API code. It actually knows which API of the email to call. And you just have to put some template of email what you want to send. And then you can run it, play it like as if you can, play your automation. And then again, as I was talking about, it just creates the file for you.
Vijay, can I, while this is playing, can I share also one great use case example? Unnamed customer, but they do food delivery. You guys are probably very familiar. There's only 3 big players in the space, but we're working with one of them. They came to us and said, hey, we have a team that is supposed to go across and find all the restaurants in the US and has to go through all the audit checks, all the compliancy checks. We want to get them onboarded onto our platform. We want to make sure they're not already there. There's no duplicates. And we have a team of about 10 people doing this today. So they said, hey, can you guys create, an agent to do this kind of grab and onboarding tool? We got the use case. We got a couple of documents that they literally would give to the team members to do what they're doing today. And in about an hour and a half, we built the whole agent. So it basically is taking hundreds
I have a
of
demo.
lists.
Let me pull that up. I have a demo, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, why don't we show that if we can do a demo, and then
So this is
there's
how.
I was scanning who's here right now. There's a bunch of IT people for sure.
Okay.
There are some sales CROs, and there are some healthcare people. Like there's quite a few healthcare people. I'm wondering if we got anything in healthcare that we could. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just if
Yeah,
there's anything quick in healthcare we could show, that'd be interesting.
Tommy, I was thinking about that. I think it'll be better to send those healthcare ones out
Okay.
separately, just because
Okay.
we just don't want to do anything crazy, right? Anything crazy and violate something. So I'll share all of this, right after after the call.
Okay.
So
We can do that.
yep. So
And by the way, I'm going to invite y'all back in February. Just so the people that are in here in healthcare, this is a general one this time, but in February, I think early February, I am going to do a healthcare specific
Yep.
demo day.
Yep.
Right? So we
Yeah,
we
we do a
will
lot
we
of
will
work in the
we'll have them
RCM
back.
space. We can talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and show
Hey,
your
Tommy,
demo.
can
You got-
healthcare include, oh, I apologize. I was just going to ask quickly, can healthcare include senior living space, do you think?
Some of
Yes.
it can, yeah. The healthcare is not quite, doesn't have quite
Absolutely.
the regulation, but it does have some. So it depends on if you're talking about, you're talking about ALFs or you're talking about senior living. Senior living definitely would be part of healthcare, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
This could have just been a healthcare call. We should definitely schedule that one separately. But VJ, please go through this.
Yeah, let's just go ahead. Yeah, we'll have 7 more years. I want to cover 2-3 really good demos. So this is just what Aaron was talking about, right? So this is a sales research, research tool for a workflow where you would like to look at a bunch of restaurants and you want to extract some data, do some web browsing. The AI will do the browsing for you and collect the data for you, and then extract it, does some lead enrichment for you, and then finally create those leads if they are qualified in Salesforce. So this is the lead enrichment and qualification workflow. Like normally what people would do is they just create a bunch of leads that you really want to qualify and do research about it. So you just create an Excel with the list of those restaurants here, and then each step you write in simple language, hey, take each of these leads from me, and then do a browsing and get some Google data from me, and then capture the restaurant's name, address, and contact information, and take a snapshot of it, and then get phone number out of it. And then with that phone number, do it, check whether it's that already exists in my existing lead database. And all you write is simple language, how you want to do it. And each of these steps, AI will understand and creates the connector, a connectivity to applications like Excel, Salesforce. It does the browsing for you. Everything is part of the workflow, right? So you're actually asking AI to almost mimic what human does in entire lead qualification process, and it actually can do like a human access the web, get the information, do some validation checks across systems. Like in this case, it's actually calling Salesforce, and it understands how to call which Salesforce API to call. It auto configures it. You just need to enter your Salesforce credentials to connect it. And then if you want to write some logic, you can write simply what you want to do and finally create a report out of it and do all that, right? So this is how you can actually create any workflows on top of it. It could be your ERPs and CRMs and so on and so forth, right? This is something about web search and external facing AI agents, not just processing document and unstructured data.
Hey,
Um,
Vijay, just to understand the technology a little bit, is it basically just you guys using like a code interpreter for each step to convert the prompt into like Python code and then execute it? Is that kind of how you guys do it, or did you guys got to build your own LLM for that, or can you describe that a
So
little
we
bit?
have, oh, absolutely. So we have 2 layers of LLM in the architecture, right? One is the
That's not-
design layer.
Was that Troy?
Hey,
Sorry,
Tommy
Tommy?
Vlad.
Who asked the question? Who was the question?
Tommy Vlad.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Vlad.
Hey.
Hey, by the way, Vlad's one of our delivery partners, guys. He's got a business in I'll tell you a story about Vlad later, but just kind of introducing, he's one of the delivery partners we use when we build AI applications. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Gotcha. So we have 2 levels of LLMs. We have one proprietary code generator LLM that we have, which understands the workflow steps and API. It's pedantic in nature. It understands which API, what payloads, and all that is a fine-tuned LLM of our own, which can work on-premise, hybrid, and customers cloud on our own SaaS. That's the generation cycle of the workflow, right? And then during the execution of the workflow, if you would like to use LLMs, we support 12 plus LLMs today for interpreting the general context of the world, right? For example, if I'm Google searching something, if I'm understanding what it means, and then I'm actually taking a snapshot of it, I'm getting what is photo number out of it. This is all general information. So you can actually use the private LLMs that we have or the public LLMs that customers might have. So there are 2 layers on it. One is the proprietary code generation LLM. So that's exactly like you mentioned. It generates the workflow session level Python and a few other codes that we actually use it to really keep this workflow. So there's a lot of complexity behind it. What we try to make this tool is to actually for business users. Unless you ask the question, we don't even talk about it's actually generating code behind and giving you a complete workflow, which is state, it's completely state machine, and it actually can actually do human in the loop kind of work as well. But the idea is to keep it as simple as for business users to use ChatGPT for doing their workflow, day-to-day tasks. Hope I answered the question.
All right, you got 3 minutes. You want to show anything else? How do you want to, got anything else you want to show real quick?
Quick, so
Vijay,
maybe we can keep it for some questions, but just want to tell the team that it's just not about unstructured data of documents. We also process voice data to workflows. So for example, you can stream incoming data and then analyze the data, voice calls and speech data. We have voice analyzing workflows. Again, LLM understands
I feel a
everything.
question in that. What's the trend? Like in the past, it was always, voice and then translated over to text, and then you basically ran AI on the text and you basically came back with your insights, right? Is that morphing into where I can just listen to voice and skip the whole translation part and just get context?
So, in the real world, take a contact center use case, right? Where you're having hundreds of calls parallelly, and you want to really make each call sales effectiveness, right? We have a few banks we are working with where they do a lot of outbound calls, and they want to make sure that each call is compliant from the regulatory point of view, and they're not saying things that they're not supposed to say, just sell. And they also want to make sure that the sales is being done effectively, right? So they have define multiple criteria where each call has to be monitored real time. So these agents actually can monitor each call live and actually update a live dashboard to say, what's your sales effectiveness score, what's your compliance scores, completely happening live. These are the kind of AI agents. And in case something goes wrong, it actually can trigger a workflow out of it, saying that, hey, by the way, this call went rude or this call went non-compliant, and this is what I'm creating a ticket for you, and you can actually do your research on it. This is the power of AI agents working in the contact center sales kind of use cases where we're doing a lot of interesting work there. Just one last scenario, same for video. So we're actually the AI agents are now monitoring video from CCTV cameras. We have a few customers who are monitoring their critical assets like gas stations and warehouses, and all you need to do is write simple prompts what you really want to monitor. The AI agents actually can really connect to incoming NVR feed. You're writing in simple natural English what kind of parameters that you want to write analyze at each frame. For example, this is actually for gas station monitoring for large gas station, oil and gas, marketing company. You're actually looking at, what is not present, litter in the foreground. You're writing in simple natural English what you really want the agent to monitor from the video. And then it just keeps looking at it and generates those alerts whenever it understands that kind of scenario is happening, right? And here's the real world case. It actually can look at it. Each streaming frame, it just explains LLM, it writes everything down like a voice transcript is a video transcript, right? What's happening? There's the incoming lorry coming, and here's what's happening, and here's what's happening. And then if any alert comes, actually this is all completely ragged. It's available for you to search anytime, like a chat GPT, where you can ask what happened and so on, so on, so scenario. It actually sends alerts, and you can actually trigger workflows on top of it again, right? So you're actually looking at unstructured data is now part of your first class enterprise citizen. Earlier, only structured data used to be first class in enterprises, but in workflows, you can bring unstructured data, documents, voice, video, and then use these multi-modal AI agents to deliver AI transformation kind of workflow. So that's it. What we got for today.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if Mario's on here. Mario is CIO of a company that startup, but they're doing about 200,000 a month now in MRR. But basically, lawyers and insurance companies call them and say, hey, there was a wreck on so and so street at so and so time, and then they have an API that goes out to all the different government agencies and pulls all the reports. The hardest thing and the most labor intensive is actually go through all the videos to be able to see what, that 3 minutes that was actually worth seeing, right? And so they'll spend 45 minutes looking for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So we call it eyes in the sky. So you can have the agents put your eyes and
Did
then.
I hear? Hold on for me 1 second, Vijay. Marty, was that you?
No, that was Aaron. Sorry.
Oh, man, sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sound like Marty. I was like, so anyhow, yeah, that's interesting. Well, I might have a client for y'all already. So we'll talk in a minute.
So Tommy, just wrapping up here. Again, the agents are multimodal. We have the pre-built ones ready to go. We know no one really wants to use a platform, I'm just saying from a market perspective, until they've seen, what an outcome of what an agent can deliver. And that's how we've been operating, right? A lot of our customers, say, hey, give me 1, 2, or 3 different things. They're seeing the value within, a quarter, less than a quarter. And then they're saying, how do I, can I enable my own team to make these own agents? And we have customers that have created Superbly Center of Excellences now. It'll be great to understand, from your perspective. Just let me know what I need to share, right? That's kind of, I want to get all this out.
Yeah, no, we'll get off track and we'll have a one-on-one on that. Let's not hold up this process. So again, in summary and finalizing, and we'll take a 2-minute break and I'll let Ram get set up and ready to go. Tell me when you're ready, Ram. You're ready. You're good to go. All right. Well, for sake of time and getting this back on, we'll just move into number 2. But to everybody that's out there, again, what we'll do is after this, I will send an email to each of y'all and say, hey, are there any of these that you would like to see one-on-one and go more into a deep dive? You get to tell me which ones you want to see, if you want to see any of them, and then we will set up a separate, more deeper dive into each one of these. So, and then Aaron, I'll get with you on what I'll send out with that email.
Tommy, do you think it makes sense to do it kind of like last time, where like, say there's 10, 15 that want to do a secondary, we just do a smaller group, but like a 90-minute session,
Yes.
as opposed to doing 8 of them,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, that's exactly right.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Hey, thank you so much, Superbly team. We will be in touch.
Great.
But fantastic engagement, guys. I mean, I was watching the chat and just laughing through some of the conversations, but fantastic engagement. It's a hot topic, so.
I saw the lawsuit one. That was funny. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have a
Okay.
Bye.